Welcome to the Landscaping Podcast. My name is Joel Barnett and I'm your host. And in today's episode, I'm talking with Dale Vine from DVine Scapes. Dale is a landscaper in Geelong, and while some of the other episodes we've done may be a lot more business related, I think this one will be quite enjoyable. It's a bit more light-hearted, and I'm sure you'll be laughing most of the time through the episode like I was. But we also touch on Dale's time where he started off in the landscaping industry, originally wanting to be a park ranger. But we work his way up to doing what he's doing now, and he's got his new TV show on at the moment, so it's going well. So hopefully you enjoy this chat as much as I did with Dale Vine. Dale, thank you for joining us on the Landscaping Podcast. And, ordinarily, the first question I ask is how you got into the industry, but I know you're a big Bombers fan, so in this episode, we're recording it before the finals have actually started, and we're coming out in 3 weeks. So the first question I'd like to ask you is, how excited are you that the Bombers are in the grand final?
Well, I was going to say, I'm glad we're still in it. It would be bloody nice, mate. But if we win a final, that'll be good for me, and then we can have a proper crack in the next couple of years, I think.
Yeah, or you could end up like St Kilda and win a final, and then just go back downhill again.
Yeah, well, the wife's a St Kilda supporter, so she's in it with you, mate. She knows the heartache of being a Saints fan.
Yeah, that's just standard though, so I'm used to it.
Yeah, true. I think all teams go through that for a good period, but Saints probably top the lot. Better than Barrington for Carlton, though, in the current day.
Yeah. There's always worse.
Yeah.
So how did you go about getting into the landscaping industry? Because you're in the Geelong now, but you weren't originally from Geelong, is that right?
No. Well, I grew up nowhere near here. Grew up in Owen, our south of Mildura, and we sort of left Owen for high school days in Bendigo. And then, after that, after school finished, I got into all sorts of stuff. I was doing everything but landscaping, basically. The whole long-term goal was I wanted to become a park ranger because I always just thought it was the coolest job on earth. And our family used to camp every Easter up at the Murray River at Hattakolkine National Park, and the ranger had come around, and it was like it wasn't even an official job where he wasn't even on duty. He'd just rock up in his uniform, but he'd sit down and have a beer with like every camp that he come and had a yarn to, and inspected how far their toilet hole was from the river and made sure their fires were safe under trees. And then he took off to the next camp to have another one. So I'm sure he had a skinful by the time he was finished. And I thought, geez, that'd be a bloody good job. So I went and did nature tourism out of school at Bendigo at La Trobe Uni, and I didn't get all the way through it. I got to first year was unreal. First year we literally spent the whole year. There's a few weeks in class, but everything else was really practical, and we did 10-day hikes through Mount Sterling and slept in the snow and did all sorts of cool stuff. Went for a 19-day, I think, hike through the Grampians. So we pretty much walked the whole bit up there. And then, we just loved that first year. And then second year came and we all went back to uni just pumped as. No more shoes. There was all hippies everywhere. And I thought, these are my people here. And then it just got fully all about the written work in that second year. And it just lost me a bit. I sort of handed in the first couple of assignments, and I think there was a week left before you could get out of the course without paying the HEX fees for that year. And I took the opportunity, went and got a job. So I ran a tennis centre for a while, indoor sports centre, and then worked with people with disabilities for another 6 or 8 months, and then moved to Melbourne, which is where I took up horticulture just at a TAFE course. So yeah, it was always something I was always interested in, plants and nature, and just didn't know once the park ranger dream was sort of up, I thought I'll have to get in there somewhere else. So yeah, just started labouring for a landscaper who come and approached our horticulture Cert 3 or whatever we were doing at TAFE. He had another apprentice that was also learning there, and he walked into our room and said, does anyone want to start an apprenticeship? And I think every bloke in the room put his hand up because they're just sick of learning, just studying full time again. We were learning weeds and all the rest of it. So yeah, so got into the apprenticeship, and I was a mature age. I think I was 21 when I started it, and yeah, 3 years later, it was only 3 years back then, I was done. So yeah, it's been a a funny old journey. I sort of started working for a heap of different people. I sort of finished my apprenticeship off with one bloke. He moved himself down here to Geelong, to Anglesea, or Aireys Inlet, and then I sort of tried to work for him for a bit, but it was costing me more money in petrol than I was making in wages to get out there and back every morning. So yeah, I found a local job through a footy club I was playing with, and yeah, ended up doing that until I worked for myself.
So when with that first guy you were working for, what sort of work was he doing? Was it like hardscapes or more
Yeah, he
horticulture?
did a bit of everything. He was another small crew. Like, he just had himself and another apprentice, and then when I started, I think he sort of thought, well, this bloke's been doing the job 2 weeks and he's going 200% harder than the bloke I've had for 3 years, and he got rid of him pretty quick and said he was useless. So yeah, then we were a crew of 2 for pretty much most of my apprentice days for 3 years, till he moved down here. And then he was slogging it out himself for a while, and now he does wood-fired pizzas at events. So yeah, good luck to him. He was a nice bloke.
That's good.
But yeah, all sorts of aspects of landscaping, but all stuff you could manage with a small crew. You know, just small backyards and front yards. No big high-end projects with lots of intricate stuff involved. Just pretty simple scaping.
And did you, while you were doing your apprenticeship and working for him and the other fella, did you always have plans to go out on your own?
Yeah, I think no one wants to work for somebody for their whole life. I think everyone wants to have a crack at it themselves at some stage, and you've always got the safety net of falling back, as long as you don't burn bridges of going back and working for someone or working for somebody else. But yeah, I think I liked a lot more plant stuff than all my bosses so far have liked. They've all been very focused on just getting the build done, and then plants are very secondary. So yeah, I wanted to do my own business where I could do a little bit more with the plants than what I'd known previously. So I had a pretty good interest in it. I'd always done bonsais since I was a kid. My grandfather gave me one when I was about 6. And from then I sort of just always had a keen interest in just finding out what plants are if I didn't know them, and I thought there was something cool about them, like a flower or something else. So yeah, it's pretty much why I wanted to do my own thing, I think.
And so did you move down here when you started the business? Is that how it worked, timeline?
Well, I followed the original apprenticeship boss down here. So I started living with Geelong with mates of mine from high school in Bendigo who were doing uni down here. Lived in a lounge room for about 6 months until one of the other housemates moved out of a bedroom, and then I got a bedroom. So, and then, yeah, started playing footy and started living with a bloke from the local footy club for a few years. And that's when I met Sophie. And yeah, from there on, we sort of, just was a Geelong local after that pretty much, which was nice. I love Geelong. It's like Bendigo where I sort of grew up, but with the beach close by.
A couple more people as well.
And a couple more people, yeah.
So when you started out, how did you go about getting work?
When I started out, I think like a lot of people, I probably just worked for people I knew. So yeah, I probably did close to 2 years, I reckon, at the start, building decks and just anything that people wanted that I was capable of doing by myself. And then that sort of kept going from like one thing that I'd be building in someone's backyard, whether it was a deck or I don't know, like a seat, or just one garden area that I'd do, to full backyards, to full houses then for people that I knew. And then, yeah, just started putting on other blokes I knew through the footy club and stuff that they'd recruited from elsewhere to play that didn't have work, and you'd just give them a bit of work for labour, and got through that way. So yeah, I sort of haven't evolved too much from there, to be honest. I keep trying for the last 4 years or so, once we finish up with the block, to build a bit and turn it into a proper landscaping business again. But I keep getting interrupted by other stuff that I'm doing, so I haven't had a good run at it, to be honest. So eventually, one day, mate, I'll get there to the point where I've got a proper business.
Well, whatever works though. Like it doesn't. You don't. There's no point putting on someone if you can't be there.
No, yeah, that's right. I always keep thinking, if I had to do it, I'd probably have to put on obviously you would anyway, but a fully qualified bloke that obviously had a head around him that could continue running jobs even if I was pulled away for periods to do other stuff. And then, but yeah, I still don't like running stuff like that if I'm not involved in a way. So I'm pretty anal like that, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, anyway, it's working for now anyway. I'm making enough money to live, so I'm happy.
That's it. That's what you work for most of the time. So did you do much design work for the people that you're working for in the early days, or?
Yeah, I did. They were pretty simple back in the starting days. So you know, they evolved, mate, from bloody drawing pictures on the ground in dirt with sticks to to coloured pencils on paper to you know, actually using fine liners and trying to colour things in like things I'd looked up on other landscape designers' websites and things. So yeah, and I sort of just plugged away. And then I did a night course in Melbourne. I think it was at Swinburne or something actually. On a design course where they taught you CAD and a few other things. So I just kept running with the CAD trial program for about 4 years, where you didn't have to pay the whole whack and you still get to use it. So I think that's how I got by for ages. But I still quite enjoy hand drawing stuff up, just because I like drawing, I think. So if it's not too complex, and to be honest, most of the projects that I've been working on, they're not in that high end range where they require those 3D designs and things where you need to put the time and effort into drawing it up. So I just draw up spend half a day drawing something up, and then I don't have to charge too much to incorporate the design that I'm going to do there anyway. So it works for me and works for them. Not many of them have required more, but when they do, I've got Soph's old man, who's a retired architect now. He can pretty quickly whip up some stuff on what's the program he uses now for free? I think it's is it Sketch or something like that. Yeah, it might be that. Yeah, and that's pretty cool because he's actually done a few for me before where he's incorporated the building and the carports and windows, and you can literally zoom through the windows and see a table in the inside. So yeah, I thought, geez, maybe I should be starting to do all this stuff for him. But then he ended up charging me to do the bloody design anyway. I thought, buggy, I'll get by.
Yeah, I was trying to learn SketchUp because I've been using Landworks CAD my whole time, and we were wanting to learn that because it's easy to do that 3D kind of stuff on there.
Yeah.
But it's still something you got to learn. And yeah, I'd like to be able to do hand drawing as well because I reckon that'd be quicker. But I was the last person in grade 4 to get my pen license, and that was just because we finished grade 4. So my drawing skills are no good at all. So.
Yeah, well, you've got it for life now, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I still use pencils though, so just to be safe. So how long had you been going with the business before you got on the block?
I was out on my own for probably. I reckon maybe 4 or 5 years. I did 3 or 4 years in Geelong. Then we moved to Melbourne. Sophie she became a school teacher after being a graphic designer, and got a position at Stonington Primary in Melbourne. So we moved to Melbourne for that because teaching gigs that were ongoing were pretty hard to get, and probably still are. So. And yeah, so at that stage, I got a couple of jobs that I was working for myself, and then it was just those periods where I just had nothing for a week or so, and I just couldn't live like that. So I just went out and worked for a company for a while, and it ended up being about a year, I think, that I was working for them, and then we went on the block after that. So that was the end of that run. But yeah, they were a little bit different. They didn't do as much construction work. They did a lot of, I don't know how he got the work, but planting out. He planted out for other landscape mobs, and he Did a lot of maintenance as well, which wasn't my forte, but it was good fun for a little while. But yeah, it was something different for me, really, compared to what I'd been doing previously. So I'm glad it didn't last longer than a year, to be honest. So
Yeah,
it's
that
enough
sounds
to do
similar.
something different and get back into it.
That sounds similar to Ash Muir from Ashley James Gardens. Like he said he's doing a bit of that because he loves the horticultural side of things. So he does the
Yep.
plantings for some landscapers who don't like doing that side of
Yep.
things. But I think it finishes it off. So I hate when someone else comes in and does the plants.
Yeah, it takes away from all your hard work. It is a nice finisher at the end of a job for sure. It puts the gloss on everything, getting the plants in there and going from, browns and greys and blues to adding all that colour is pretty special.
Yeah. Yeah, with the block, was that the first time you applied when you got on? Or did you apply previously to get on there?
Yeah, it was. Because we only saw the one season before we went on there, that after it got revamped after about a 10-year break, I think, which was in Richmond. And we just loved watching that season. And what did we do? I think we got married, then went to honeymoon, and then came home and literally saw might have been an ad on Tally in those days. I don't think it wasn't even on social media because we didn't have it other than Facebook for friends. And so Sophie said, let's apply. I'll do the video. You don't have to worry about doing too much, which is where I basically said, oh, yep, I'm in. And she did all the video and set the camera up somewhere on a stick and recorded it and then chopped it together because she was a graphic designer, and put a song to it and sent it off. And I said to her, I just jokingly warned to her, I said, before we do it, you really want to go on there because we send a video away, I reckon we'll get on, just as a joke. And she said, yeah, I want to do it. And so sent it away, and I think we sent it right at the end of application. So it was only literally 2 weeks later, and they got in contact and said, you've been shortlisted to 20 couples or something. And we were like, shit, didn't expect that really. But and then it went really quick from there. We sort of went and met people from production at a pub of our choice and sat down and just had a yak to them, which was Jules from the show and Juzzy from Channel 9. And I think they just literally get a gauge on what you like as a couple and what you'd be like on there as a personality. So like always, I did a lot of talking, and Sophie sat there looking beautiful, and they saw something in us. And I think they said later on, once we were on there, we had the little meeting, and then they said one thing that we did with all the couples that we never told anyone about was once we'd finished meeting them, we would then watch them walk to their cars, like, follow them around a corner and just watch them after it was over and see if they bicker to each other or whatever. And they said, and you guys were the only guys that walked around a corner, held hands, and then like walked to the car happily swinging hands together. The rest of them all had something to pull the other one up on that they said in there that they weren't happy with or something. And so he said, so for that fact, we thought, these guys can be the happy people in there. And that must have been how we were casted, I think.
So what year was that?
We did it in 2011, and it came out in start of 2012. So they had breaks in between filming and getting it on air back then, but I think it's pretty quick between finishing filming and getting it on nowadays. So it was good fun. Obviously did well for us in all aspects of stuff, giving us a good head start, and also other weird and wonderful things that have led on since. So it was good fun.
So what was it like when you first went on there, like when you realised how intense it was?
Yeah, no, there's the wake up moment where I think I was shocked, but I pushed through it in a way that was like, all right, well, you can be shocked and fall apart, or you can be shocked and just keep going as hard as you can. And they can't be doing too much different in other houses to be doing anything other than going as hard as they can. So And that's what sort of got us through. And we met all the other people in the other houses, and we got along well with them all, which made it easy as well. So, it was good fun. A lot of good fun, long nights, as you know, doing stuff you shouldn't be doing at 2 a.m. in the morning. It's a bit of a high, and it's something that you think good story for later on in life that you can retell to yourself if no one else listens. So, but we actually showed our kids, now that they're 6, 4 and 2, we thought, they can all appreciate us being on tally. Now they're all old enough to think, that's cool, Mum and Dad were on tally. And we showed them a episode off 9 Life or something on an app on tally where you can just look up the old seasons. And we found ours and showed us. We looked about 12 years old when we were on there for a start. And then Sophie's like, have a look at this show, guys. Mum and Dad are on tally. And none of them could care less. They're like, well, wait another 10 years and we'll show them again. It was pretty funny, actually. We sort of thought, this is going to be, they'll want to watch this show every day until the series is finished with Mum and Dad on there. And it was like, this is quite boring. Can we put some cartoon back on? So I think we overshot it and missed the mark there.
You need to be on YouTube now.
I know.
That's the new TV.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I always wanted to go on the block until I had the experience of landscaping on there for 1 week and realised that there's no way that I could do it. Just it's so much harder than it actually looks.
Like, we often say now, like after getting through it, but it's a different scenario once you've got kids. But even just we've known each other and been married for another 10 years since then now, and we're like, Jesus, I couldn't bloody do the block with you again now. Like this would be hell. We're both very stubborn people. So it's funny. We did well to get through it. I think it was good fun back then, but now it would just be a nightmare, I think.
It's completely different these days with all the social media and the.
There's a lot more to it for contestants than it used to be. So that's the only reason we got Instagram, was they made us sign up whilst we were contestants on there. So there you go. Now it's bloody everyone's and their dogs on it now, literally with their dog having their own.
So was there anything crazy you bought when you got your prize money?
A house, mate. That was crazy for us. For two people that rented their whole lives and lived out of their parents' homes and a little shack in Melbourne. That was about as exciting as it got. I think we updated the cars. That was another good one, I think. We didn't go crazy with it. We knew we'd won enough to be happy, but it's not, never work again sort of money. I think that's getting more and more a bigger amount of money that you need these days to be pack everything up and don't worry about the cost of life anymore. So it was a good little head start, but we didn't go. And I think I heard one of the other couples went and blew a lot of theirs on. They put a bet on Ash Barty to lose a game or something of tennis, and that was before she was world number 1 in her starting days against some hot favourite, one of those other big tennis birds from another country, and she upset him, and that was the start of her reign. And they blew about 20 grand of their prize money on this bet, thinking, we'll just double that. So I thought, wow, I haven't experienced that low, but still nice to see one day you wake up and your bank account says bloody, a couple $100 or couple of $1,000, and then next morning you check it and it says 350 grand or something. It's a pretty good day.
Yeah, we just sold our house and I had that feeling, so it didn't even win anything, so that was nice.
But absolutely.
It goes pretty quick. It's all gone already onto another one.
Very good.
How many times have you been on there since the first year? Was it another 2 after that?
I went up 3 times in total, I think. So kind of 2.5 times, because I went on with Soph, and then immediately after that series, they announced they were doing an All-Stars where they were pulling back couples from all different, even the past series where Jamie Jury was host back in the day. So they got the two fat tradies, they were called, Mitch and Duncan, back from the first original series. And yeah, they'd obviously got older since they were on there previously. And about halfway through, Mark, sorry, not Mitch, Mark almost had a heart attack, I think. So they had to stop him. And within 24 hours, they got me on a phone call and then a plane flight up to Sydney to finish off half a series as the new Mark to help out Duncan. So I'd met those blokes once at a block road show that they did. They had this show that they put on with all contestants from different things up in Sydney. And it was pretty hectic in there, and it was at some convention centre. And I was having a yak to them, old tradie blokes. And I said, bloody hell, do you want to just duck out of here for 5 and get a beer at the pub next door? And so they said, yeah. So I left Sophie in there talking to people and went and had a beer with these two blokes. And after that, they said, oh, we know Dale from a beer we've had with him once. He's all right. We'll get him up to finish. So, and the crew were pretty, I think they said that the producers were trying their hardest to sort of, oh, what about somebody else? You know, just put somebody else in front of him rather than me. And I'm thinking, I must have made an impression on that first series. But they'd already planned to have me back in the following series and pair me up with Brad at that stage. So they just didn't know if they wanted to have me in 3 seasons in a row on there. But what could you do? They picked me and they filmed it. So they got me up and then they got me back bloody 3 months later for another one. So yeah, it was pretty hectic for 3 years there, to be honest. I sort of lived that weird lifestyle for too long.
So were you able to do any landscaping in between, like filming?
Well, when that was going on, not much, mate. I packed up what I was doing to do the first one, then quit that job that I was working for the other bloke when we got back, and had some prize money to come back to Geelong and buy a house. And then we moved back here and sort of fell into that role of just doing some stuff for mates again that heard I was back in town, and until I bloody went on again and come back out and did the same thing once or twice, trying to set up again, and went back in a third time. So it was, it's been a bit funny since then. And as I said earlier, it's I've been trying ever since to bloody get a good run at it and set up properly. But then books have come up and bloody television shows have come up since. So it's it's a funny old life at the moment.
Yeah, so with your book that you released, was it the Backyard Reno Guide, the title of it?
Yeah, I think it was. Oh yeah, I think that was it. Dale Vine's Outdoor Reno Guide. I think.
Outdoor Reno Guide, yeah. So that was based around like advice for people to do achievable garden for themselves, isn't it? Rather than the real top end that only the 1%
I felt a bit
can do.
responsible after going on the block, and a lot of mates of mine also through the industry, as you were probably blaming me as well at the time, but people were watching the block and then hiring tradies, whether it be landscapers, plumbers, electricians or whatever, to come in and do stuff at their house. And they just had these block timeframes in their mind of how quickly stuff was going to get done. And so I sort of almost felt a bit responsible to put it back on the straight, as to, you employ people to come and do a job properly, and it takes a while to do. It's not, the block isn't real life. So I brought out a DIY sort of book. I didn't push it to a publishing company. They sort of talked that through with the crew that managed me away from landscaping after the block, and just said, oh, we've got this area we think we can do a book in, and you've got DIY and landscape knowledge, so do you want to do it? So I said, yeah, why not? If you get a chance to write a book, I think you say yes. So at the start it was funny. I didn't know what I wanted to incorporate in it, and I went and sat at a coffee shop every Monday in a row for about a month and a half, and I thought, this could take forever for me writing a book, and 6 weeks it was done, 6 Mondays in a row, and it was finished. So it was pretty quick. I think once you start writing about stuff, it's easy. So but yeah, it's all DIY stuff you can do yourself. And if it ever gets into a bit where I think you're getting out of your depths, I always right in there, get a contractor. Don't pay money to do it and then pay someone else again to rip it up and start again. So know your limits is pretty much the DIY's motto, I think.
Yeah. So have you had good feedback? Because I reckon it's a rare thing that people make that kind of books. I reckon it'd be pretty popular.
Yeah, it went okay. Yeah, I think it. They waited for ages, I think, before they could even tell how it had gone, as far as sales and stuff. But I think it hit the mark of where they needed it to, and then kept going after that. So I haven't checked in since I knew that they were content. But they haven't said that. I think once it gets to a certain point, then they start thinking about releasing it overseas and stuff like that. But there's a lot of stuff in there that annoyed me as well once it got to the editing stage, as far as I wrote it the way I knew everything here, and they changed a lot of terminology to make it more universal if it had got to that stage where they'd release it elsewhere. So it took away from it a little bit as far as specific plants and things like that. So and pictures as well was bloody hard to find so I sort of let them find what they could that was legal, and then gave them some little bits and pieces that I had. But at that stage I'd pretty much been doing 3 years not on the tools properly in my own business, and I had all pictures to give them anyway.
Yeah.
And I lost a heap as well from a computer transition back in the day when people didn't know how to do stuff properly. Well, I didn't. So, and I'm notorious for doing a job and taking a photo at the end and thinking that looks nice, but oh shit, it would have been good to show them how bad it was beforehand. So
yeah, well,
I'm trying to get better with all that. Yeah, even a midway shot would be nice too sometimes.
Yeah. Now with when you had finished on the block and then you went back to do a bit of landscaping, did you have to sort of start vetting the clients to see if they were just wasting your time or not?
Yeah, there was a little bit of that, but the problem was everybody who was calling me out were nice people, but they weren't. I could tell pretty quickly when some of them weren't interested in actually getting some landscaping done. If they pull out 3 kids from another room as soon as you rock up and have a photo to start with, and then they start talking to you about the block to start, you think, shit, I've wasted an hour doing this today. And I don't think I'm going to get a job from it anyway. So I did about 3 of those. And then, I just started, everyone who then contacted me, I was putting a consult fee on me call out. So I think I said it was about, I can't remember back in the day, but I think it was about $350 I said to come, and I'll give you an email at the end with everything that I'd discussed. And so if you don't choose me to do the construction, you've got the ideas that I give you in that consult. So it wasn't just a $300 fee for nothing, but that scared enough of them away to figure out who was real and who wasn't. So, but yeah, no, it was interesting. I don't rate it as far as making more work for myself. I don't think I got more work after going on there. I didn't showcase much landscaping, to be honest. In Sophie and my block, we had stuff all money left, and we did a pretty basic one. Which somehow ended up winning because I think there was other wrought stuff going on. So they evened the playing field out a bit. But it was always good. I always still have a laugh with Dave Franklin now, who built about a 60 grand beautiful backyard with crazy pave and a pergola and seating with lighting and all this stuff out there next door to us. And I rolled out some grass and built a bar and a deck, and they said, well, that's the winner. So anyway, it was nice. He was pretty keen to beat me next time I come on board to help out in a challenge, and we did 2 front yards while other people were contestants on there. And it was funny because Dave Franklin's mob did the design for both the front yards before they went on there, so they could have all the supplies ready to go for this challenge day. So I said, even if you beat me, mate, it's because your design was shit for the other one. But they're all good people that I've met through the block and the industry. There's not many. I don't think I really met any bad people, to be honest, through this whole experience and through the landscaping industry as well. There's competition around, but no one's been a-hole about anything, so it's been nice.
Yeah, I was having that same conversation last week with Dan Cusack. He's from Canberra, from Revive Landscapes. Yeah, he was. Yeah, we both kept going back to saying how good the landscaping industry is. Like everyone gets along really well together. Like there's always going to be some that, bad apples in there, but generally, like I know in Geelong everyone gets along pretty well. And it's the same most places.
Well, there's plenty out there. I mean, it depends where you sit as far as competition wise, but I'm not competing with you at the moment. Like you're on very high end stuff that's out of my delivering zone for what I can get done. It'd take me a year to do one of your things by myself with labourers. So it's good. There's plenty of work for everybody, I think.
Yeah. So, and you've got the TV. When this goes to air, your TV show will have come out for a couple of weeks already. So, where'd the idea for that come?
On.
I'll just edit this out if it's not.
Yeah. That come about as well. Like the book sort of did. The crew that managed me was speaking with Jason from MCW Productions, who makes tally shows, and he was already working with other talent that our management crew had on their books. So I think it was Merv Hughes' fishing show that's also on 7-2 on the weekends, and Dipper's Backyard Barbecue Wars or something. I think I haven't seen it, but sounds interesting. And so he was just chatting generally with Chris, the head honcho, and said, who else you got on your books that we can make a show that's a bit different for what we made so far. And he said, this person, this person, this person. And he said, Dale can pretty much do anything Reno based or landscaping or outdoor or something stupid as well. And there's nothing stupid going, so he just decided to do a like a DIY's version. So it was pretty interesting. Jason's never shot that sort of genre before as well, so it was a big learning curve for him as well as to how long shit takes to bloody do sometimes. There's drying time between coats on things, and so for filming it's pretty frustrating sometimes having that sort of DIY time frame, trying to get stuff shot in a day. And but he did really well, and hopefully it comes up pretty good. I've seen some, what do you call it, like a scratch editing version of the first couple of episodes, which obviously gets tidied up from there. But yeah, it looks pretty cool. Looks fun. Got a song at the start, so hopefully that catches people enough to keep them watching.
You singing in it?
No, not in the song. I tried. They wouldn't allow it to go to air. But there is. I'll tell you, there is some segments throughout it that I don't know if they should have gone to air, but they've made it. It got pretty weird there for a couple of days where a lot of the assistants and the girls that are on board as well with MCW had to go home and do other stuff after we'd filmed for about 4 days in a row. And it was just the cameraman, Benny, Jace, and I left on site. And when 3 blokes are just 4 days into filming, and it just got loose, and we turned a kitchen appliance episode into a cooking show at one stage there. And you'll see it. I don't know. They showed the mob that did an Alto, whose products it was, where it went to, and we just expected them to say, it's funny, but no, we're not gonna, we won't go down that path. We want it still to be pretty serious. And they loved it, and they said, bloody oath, put it on. So there's been a couple of that have just gone somewhere else, and it's turned out to be on there, so we'll see.
So is it 9 episodes, is that right?
8, I think. I think it's 8. Yeah, could be 9, but I think it's 8.
And is there plans if it goes well to do another one?
They're talking about, I think there's some of the brands that were on board and partners that they got on board have seen what they've been sent so far, and already they're keen to go again if they get a second series. So yeah, I don't know if it goes okay. I don't know what sort of numbers or anything they need to get that sort of thing happening, but yeah, if Seven's happy with it and it's going all right on 7-2 for viewings, then yeah, we'll have a crack at making another series. And we've already talked about how we change it again, like everything when you do it for the first time, how we could change it and make it better for a second go round. But I think we try and incorporate maybe a bigger landscaping project at someone's house or something. You know, like a full makeover segmented over the 8 show series. So you show a little bit each week and final reveal on the last show. So that'd be something cool. I reckon we could do next time round if we got the opportunity to. So, but yeah, we had a lot of cool partners on board.
Yeah, and they can end up like even how good the numbers are for the TV show. The other the suppliers can be using, you know, clips of it to push as well, so it all works together.
Yeah, it's gets pretty complicated as far as what's been promised to all these partnering brands and stuff throughout the series as well. Obviously, they get to be on the show, but yeah, I mean, I've been doing, what do you call it, short webisodes for most of those companies for their own uses on websites and whatever else as well, and stuff. So yeah, it's pretty involved as to what they get for being on board these days. No one just wants to just be on the show. They also want, you know, the host to be on their social media and all sorts of stuff now. So yeah, you think you've sort of signed off and filmed everything for the series, and then it's about to come on air and I've got a bloody 5 emails long of stuff I've got to do in the next 8 weeks to tick all those boxes off for everyone that jumped on board. So yeah, it's all part of it, mate. But
do you enjoy doing that?
I do, yeah. It's funny when I had a little break. When I was filming, I was thinking, geez, how good's this? Just doing, because it'd been ages since I filmed anything from the block, and then I did a little series with Bunnings on this Make It Yours thing where they did up a house, and I just did the front yard in one day basically. But that was the last bit of filming I'd done since the block, and then when we started filming this, it was just days on days again, where you're just out and about somewhere else and filming again and stopping and starting. And I just thought, this is so much different from waking up in the morning and going landscaping. Sometimes it's a lot more easy to just go and do what you know somewhere, like a landscaping job. But it was a nice break to do filming again for a while. But I think I always need to do something for a period like that and then get back to landscaping for a bit. And then if I'm going to do it again, have another period, because after a while you hate filming, and then you want to get landscaping, and then you landscape for 2 weeks and you think, shit, filming wasn't that bad actually. It was. There's a lot of rest time and breaks compared to this, but I don't know. Grass is always greener, mate. I'm not sure which side of the fence I want to sit yet, so we'll see what happens opportunity wise.
Yeah. So are you? What are your plans going forward? Are you going to keep ticking along the landscaping and then do these TV gigs as they come up?
Yeah, I think, it's a bit hard to sort of commit to either side at the moment. I'm trapped in this limbo of doing bits of both. So I'll just keep landscaping as much as I can. I've booked, like everybody, enough projects to pretty much get me through to the end of the year now. But I'm hoping I'm not too interrupted and I can just get them done and just worry about that for the rest of this year. And then I'll wake up the start of a new year and go again, see where I'm at. But yeah, it's I don't know. If you're a person that's stressed about all that stuff, it's probably not the lifestyle for everybody, where you're stopping and starting what you're doing as your career. But for me, it's working at the moment, and I'm not worried about it. I'm still making money, so yeah, it's as long as I'm making money and having fun, I'm happy.
Yeah, that sounds like a good result to have both of them.
Yeah.
So what do you do outside of work? Do you have anything that keeps you busy doing that?
Not much, mate. I drink too much beer on a weekend and slowly creeping into the weekdays as well now. So, but yeah, no, I enjoy footy season. I like watching the footy. I puddle with me bonsais, and it's just all kids now. All the weekends previously when stuff opened up again was. I mean, I didn't have too many commitments. I had 2 swimming classes on a weekend, one on a Saturday, one on a Sunday, Oz kick, and a ballet class. But even that was enough to just think I've got no free time at all here, so I'm just gonna enjoy doing all this for however long it lasts, and then it'll change to some other activities on the weekend. So you know how it rolls. It's just the joys of parenthood now. So that
Yeah,
pretty much I don't have time for a hobby.
yeah, I asked Dan last week that same question, and then he gave his answer, and he said, "What do you do?" I said, "No, I just work, and that's about it,
Yeah,
really. Just about the kids, and
it's actually quite sad when it gets to a weekend and you might have an hour or two that your wife gives you without the kids where you can go and do something, and you end up working, and you just think, oh shit, like this is how I'm spending my free time. Like you can do anything you want, go and bloody do something, and you just go down to your garage and do something for next week or whatever else. And, you know, it keeps me happy anyway.
Yeah, I like to sometimes just do nothing if I get free time,
Yep.
because it's pretty rare.
Yep. That would be good. Where do you
Yeah.
do that?
It was one time a few years ago. I remember doing that. Just haven't done it since then though.
Where do you achieve nothing? Do you just go and lie down somewhere?
Yep, just lie on the couch.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
No,
it's like Homer
Sophie
Simpson.
doesn't mind if I have some time to do stuff that I need to do, or just to have some hours to myself. But she doesn't want to see me. She doesn't want to
Yeah.
reminder of. She doesn't want to see me sitting on a couch doing nothing. If that's it, the party's over. If you're sitting there doing nothing, and I can see you, you might as well be helping. So I could go and do it elsewhere. I could go and sit in my car and do nothing, and she wouldn't care. But if she can see me, it's over.
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
Yeah.
All right, Dale. I can't thank you enough for coming on. I appreciate your time.
No worries.
All right.
We'll have to do another one where we talk about landscaping.
Yeah, there'll be a bit in there.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Dale.
Beauty.